Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Soul Channel. I am beyond excited to bring our new guest into your awareness. She and I met, 3, 4 months ago, and I was a guest on her podcast, and we were like, oh, sister, hello, friend, where have you been? And it was just a beautiful conversation and a wonderful connection. So, welcome to Soul Channel. Soul Channel is a place for seekers to raise consciousness, create clarity, normalize spirituality so we can all change the world. And I'm delighted to introduce to you Megan Mary. And let me tell you a little bit about her because she's pretty special. Of course, she's with us, right? Megan Mary is an award-winning metaphysical author and dreamworker that specializes in the analysis of women's dreams to promote transformative personal growth and enlightenment. She's the founder of Inner Realms Publishing, Women's Dream Analysis, and the Women's Dream Enlightenment podcast. She's an intuitive, an introvert, and a mystic. And after being diagnosed with 3 chronic illnesses, she experienced a spiritual awakening. She now works with women all over the world, offering dream interpretation, transformative journeys, and enlightened guidance. She holds a BA and an MA in English literature, certification in British studies, and is pursuing her PhD in metaphysical sciences. She's also a member of the International Association for the Study of Dreams. She lives in Idaho with her husband, 2 cats, and I'm so excited to announce this. Her debut fictional novel, The Dream Haunters, A Metaphysical Mystery of Magick, Book 1, The Witches of Maple Hollow series, became an international bestseller, not once, but twice in October 2024. And I highly recommend you run out and get it. I happen to love metaphysical literature. It is my genre, and it's a brilliant book. And book 2 is coming out May. So get going. You got to get it so that you can get book 2. So, Megan, welcome. It's so good to have you here.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you so much for having me on.
So, will you share a little bit about your books? Because I'm super excited about what you're doing there.
Yes, absolutely. So, like you had mentioned, it's The Witches of Maple Hollow is the name of the series. And the first book is The Dream Haunters, A Metaphysical Mystery of Magick, but all 3 are metaphysical mysteries of magic. And really, they are a combination of everything that you will find in a metaphysical store. So,
Okay. Yeah.
yes, and it's a little bit of, I don't know, Harry Potter and Charmed meets Coraline is how I describe it. So I can explain the synopsis of the first book just briefly and walk you through that. So the main character is Hannah Skye, and she's a young woman in search of meaning. She receives a cryptic letter from her missing and eccentric aunt, Julia, and her experience of a recurring, very powerful pumpkin patch dream unfolds into a spiritual journey to a mysterious island of eternal autumn, Maple Hollow, where she discovers the mystical Sky Manor and her magical family legacy. Haunted by shapeshifters bent on trapping people in their nightmares, Hannah, with the help of wise villagers and feline companions, including a talking cat dream guide, must solve the riddle, unlock her powers, and dive into the dream dimension to save her aunt by Halloween night, when the veil between the worlds is thinnest. So this really is an invitation to escape into this metaphysical mystery of magic where spells, music, and dreams converge in a vortex of secret societies and spiritual inheritance. Travel beyond time and space into a world of unexpected portals, ancient traditions, and Dreamscapes.
Wow. I am so excited to share this with everybody. It sounds so potent, and I get that it's a dream world that you drop into, but there's so many parallels to what we're going through right now on the planet, which is no surprise that you're drawing on all of your mystical, magical, and dream interpretation knowledge. So let's talk about how the characters evolved. And I want to weave in, I want people to hear about your magic too.
Yes. So this began as a dream, of course, that I had 10 years ago about a talking cat.
Wow.
And it was a very vivid dream. I was not recording my dreams at the time. And I felt, okay, this is so real that I have to write something about it. And I wasn't writing at the time either. So I wrote what kind of was I think it was maybe less than 5,000 word short story about a time traveling talking cat. And then I left it and I didn't pick it up again. And it wasn't until I experienced all of those major medical issues
Mhm.
that I started really finding myself in a very low place and had to do something to raise out of that. So I started to meditate a lot and seek inner guidance. And when I did that, I reopened the door to my dream world, which I had shut unknowingly for many, many years.
Yeah.
And when I started to receive that guidance, it was emphatically that I had to go out and do this in the world, that this wasn't just for me, that I was supposed to spread the word about it, which I was at that point not ready to do.
Yeah.
So there began my whole experience of basically losing myself in order to become the conduit for the message that needed to come through, which ultimately transformed the book when I picked it back up to write it. And it became Hannah's journey, not just with the cat, but of her own spiritual awakening.
Mhm. Which so reflected what you were going through in your life.
Yes.
So, first of all, I'm so sorry you had to go through that, because we all know, especially if you're listening to this podcast, that we all have to overcome hard things to move into the greatest expression of our gifts. Can you talk a little bit about how you did that and what you leaned into? Because I know you're so, yeah, my guides are going, yes, yes, yes. You're so gifted with dream interpretation and moving energy and really working deeply with that dream state and enabling others to learn how to do that by holding that vibration. So, and I suspect that it played a role in your overcoming your challenges.
Yes, absolutely. Where do I start with that? I think for me, I realized that the guidance had to come from within, that it wasn't something that someone could provide for me,
Mhm.
and that I had to tap into that universal knowledge that it was almost like a freight train of information that was coming to me at the time
Yeah.
that I had a really hard time keeping up with, really. There was a lot of messages once I started recording my dreams and a lot of experiences in my dreams that don't fall under the usual category, I guess I would say, where
Mhm.
I was just getting profound messages and having these profound experiences where it transformed me in a way that I couldn't go back, even if I wanted to. So it was devastating at the beginning. It was very sad to let that go, but it was also validating once I did it and the world kind of cracked open. Like all these women from around the world came into my circle, and I realized this was way bigger than me. This wasn't really a choice, um, but it was something I was felt like I really had to do. And so to me, the dream world isn't first off something that we should ignore. It's something that we should appreciate at the base level. But beyond that, it's an expression of our spiritual self, and it's a catalyst for us to evolve that spiritual self. And all of the things that we discover in that other world need to be addressed, our opportunities, whether they're good or bad. And when we do, and we integrate them into this waking life, this other reality, that's when we come into that more holistic alignment in that spiritual sense. So we are operating almost in a state of asleepness when we're awake because of our perception that we know what this reality is, what the rules of it are, what our being is in it. We think we know all of those stable, solid things. And so we think that the dream world is the one that we don't understand, when in fact, that's 95% of our mind is our subconscious. And that's where really we originate from in terms of universal knowledge. And this is almost really just an illusion, a distraction in that way. Now, of course, we all have a purpose here, and we're all here in this physical manifestation for a reason. But I feel the only reason we discover that, the only way we discover that, is by combining the two.
Mhm.
And in addition to learning how to decode, I call it, your dream stories, because I believe all dreams are stories, you also have the opportunity with dream work, as you said, to transmute that information. So you can take that information and energetically transform it in this reality so that it thereby synergistically changes over in that reality.
So what it does is it cultivates an inner awareness and becomes a catalyst
Yes.
for you to really thrive in the 3D world. Because I
Yes.
agree. I think when we're asleep, it's like all of our portals of awareness, all of our beliefs and behaviors that dictate how the 3D world unfolds in front of us are removed. They're no longer applicable because our mind is quieted and no longer looking through these portals. And I love, and I'm a neophyte. I don't know very much about it. I have a great appreciation because my dream world is very rich and very vibrant, and I have memories from when I was an infant of that being the safest, most loving place in my world, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I have a deep reverence for those of you who are gifted in the dream world analysis and interpretation and bringing awareness to others so that we can develop that as well. So, how do you unlock that? For those who say, I don't know how to unlock that guidance.
Yes, and
Um,
there's a lot of people who say, "Well, I don't remember them."
I know exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Almost like, well, that's not going to work for me because I don't remember them. So next, and
Yeah.
and not with a kind of a dismissal, right?
Yeah.
Um, and there are a number of reasons that we don't remember them. Some of them are pharmaceutically based. Some of them are physically based if we have an injury to the brain or something like that. Some of them are biologically based. As women, when our estrogen rises and falls, that affects our dream recall. When our estrogen is high, we remember them more. And so as our cycles fluctuate throughout the month and throughout the year, our ability to recall things will also fluctuate. But from a much more psychological standpoint, a
Mhm.
lot of the reason you don't remember is because either A, you're not paying attention, or B, you decided you didn't want to remember.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of a subconscious turning it off, shutting the door, because at some point there was a message you didn't want to receive, or there was one you didn't understand, or nightmares, any number of those reasons. And so you may have just said, oh, enough of that. I'm not listening to that anymore. And the rest of your brain sort of said, okay, we're just going to close that down because you have the ability to create multiple, I mean, unlimited synapses in your mind, depending on what you introduce to yourself and what your routine is in your day. But you have a control over that in a way you don't realize.
Mhm.
And just like any kind of mindful practice, meditation practice, it takes practice to be able to recognize when you're transitioning in those different states because we really are going into a different brainwave state. Just like when we meditate, we are going into a different brainwave state. And so it's gaining an understanding of those different frequencies and those different levels of consciousness and learning how to play between them.
Mm. I love that. Thank you. Because I think it's like any tool. We all have these abilities. First of all, let's put the disclaimer out there. You too dream, and you too can understand the messages that are coming forth in your dreams. And just like learning to play the piano, that's the one I always fall back on. You have to practice before you don't suck, right?
That's a
You have
perfect
to,
example. Yes,
yeah,
because
yeah.
I used to and now I don't. And yes, and that's actually something that the main character Hannah does. Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
So what I'm
He discovers a
hearing,
lot.
yeah, I was gonna say what I'm hearing is not only is this book entertainment, but it's also hmm, a guide that we can embrace. And I imagine if no, I know that the words are infused with energy so that you can unlock that within yourself. So that's beautiful. Thank you for
Yes,
bringing that
absolutely.
to our attention.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why there is a key on the cover because you are the key.
Yeah.
And really the tagline is unlock the key, open the portal, save our legacy. So it really is a call to discover that you are the key to your
Yeah.
own wisdom. And it does instruct. It's very much an instructive, educational, but enchanting at the same time series that's meant to not only introduce you to a large variety of metaphysical topics, but to also allow you to go on that journey with the main character, which behind the scenes becomes your journey.
That's beautiful. Thank you for creating that and making it fun and playful at the same time because
Yes.
It's so much easier to remember the playful, fun things and engage willingly. And let's not forget, excuse me, everybody has free will, so say yes. When you pick up the book, say, yes, I will receive everything that is within these pages for me.
Yes, absolutely.
I love that. Good Christmas gift or holiday or
Yes, for sure. And I also recently created themed dream journals that go as a companion with the book. And so it's a basically, it looks like the cover, but it's blank on the inside so that you can record your dreams and your thoughts as you're reading the book, really experiencing that journey and really starting down that own path of your own recording and understanding your dream world.
so you get to write your story with
Hmm.
purpose and intention. That's
Yes.
powerful, Megan. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, talk a little more about healing and personal growth because I think what most of us, myself included, are always looking for are ways that we can move ourselves forward in nobody minds a little bit of work, but it's understanding what tools are available to us. And so give us some examples of dream world tools that are brought to us that we can then use to forward our own personal growth, our own evolution.
Yes. So by examining the different details of the dream in your own reflection. So that is why I call it the dream mirror method, because it's really meant to serve as a mirror back upon yourself. I don't want it to be a dictionary method. I
Hmm.
want it to be where you're really holding up the mirror to your subconscious and you're saying, okay, what does this mean for me? This symbolism, this place, these people, what I'm doing in the story, how is that relevant to my waking life? And what is the story showing me that either I haven't thought of, or that I've forgotten, or that I need to heal? So, a lot of times, the stories will be reflections of those things that we need to release, that we need to transmute into other energetic frequencies
Hmm.
in a way that serves us. So, part of what I do in the work that I do is something called really the way I look at it is that we are integrating the dream knowledge. So I call it dream integration at the end, because instead of just saying, okay, well, the cards say this, this is what it means, now run along. I'm saying, okay, what do we do with this now? How do we move
Yeah.
this out? How do we change this into a higher frequency if it's a low frequency situation where, it's a nightmare or it's something depressing or upsetting? Or how do we act on this if it's something just phenomenal and inspiring? And how do we raise up to that? Right.
Yeah.
So some of the things that I have people pay attention to are like the people and the places and the settings and the colors and the numbers, and all of those little details are really important. That's why an A to Z dictionary doesn't really give you the whole story when you just look up one thing in a
One
dream
aspect.
dictionary.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of applications just in decoding the message, but beyond that, there's a lot of opportunity for different healing modalities, which is why I really encourage anybody who's in the healing space, whether they're on the traditional side, of course, and they're doing psychoanalysis, or they're on the light worker side and they're doing past life regression, whatever it might be, that they integrate dream work into their practice because it is just another one of the doorways that allows people to tap into their intuition to really unravel themselves in a way, what the preconceived entrapments of the 3D reality, and really change their perspective. And when we do that, it raises our spiritual intelligence.
Love that. Okay. So you've mentioned and I agree completely. I think understanding how to put together all the elements is vital. It's not just picking out the one that you like the best or the one that feels familiar or comfortable. It's actually being curious and neutral about what's come in. And I'm going to say also that, back in the 3D world, because we have all of our portals of awareness, engaging in somebody who can help you understand the messages coming in is essential. We're not meant to do this by ourselves, period. That's a full sentence. We're not meant to do this by ourselves. So find that person that you connect with and allow them to be a guide and a support and a mirror for you. So you have brought this up a couple of times, and I think it is important for us to address in our conversation. Nightmares and scary dreams. Can you talk about that a little bit and help people be more comfortable or understand or help?
Sure, sure. Yes. So that was part of what really drew me to dream work in the first place, was because I used to have recurring nightmares as a child and I didn't understand what they meant.
Mhm.
I think that what can really help with dream work, it's very much, in a sense, shadow work, because we're walking into that darkness together and we're saying, okay, what is this scenario? What is the emotion that's ruling this scenario? Because when we dream, our emotional brain, our limbic system is wide awake, but the rest of our brain is shut off. So we don't have the logic part, we don't have other parts, but we do have the emotional part.
Mm.
So that's the reason that we remember our nightmares the most, because even if we don't remember the others, because they were so emotionally driven and we experience them on an emotional, physiological level as if they really happened. So
Right.
we often end up with what I call a dream hangover, where you feel like you just walked out of a room where that happened. You actually feel like it happened because in a chemical way, your body experienced as if it did. So your heart might be pounding, or your blood is running really fast, or whatever it is. And so we want to look at what is happening in that dream that's causing that emotional response.
Mhm.
And a lot of times when I do this work, the dreamer will discover, to their relief, that it's actually not as bad as they thought. That there's actually an underlying message in there and opportunity that they didn't see, that they maybe wouldn't have seen, as you said.
Mhm.
And then we go into the work of, okay, how do we integrate this? And lucid dreaming holds a lot of promise in that respect, because it actually gives us the opportunity, if we can attain the state of lucidity, to be able to change the course of the dream. If we're
Mm.
not able to do that, we can still, in our waking life, go into a visualization based on the dream that allows us to also change the ending. So it's like taking the nightmare and making it a choose your own adventure book, essentially.
Oh, I love that. That's clever.
Yes. So what I provide in my 90-day programs is that I actually supply a number of custom guided meditations based on the dreams that you choose. And if you want a different outcome, what that is.
Yeah.
And then I overlay sound frequency music that will help you change that energy level of that dream in tandem with that alternate ending that you've chosen. And by listening to that and meditating to that, you're introducing that new and alternate ending to your subconscious. And you're also introducing that energetically to the world. So it allows you to change that in a way that that dream may not come back again. It's going to change your dream world as it will change your waking life.
Beautiful. And I love the multifaceted application of shifting the meaning of the dream and changing it into the optimal outcome that you want with the digital sound bath and the meditation. And would you, for those, thank you, would you, for those who are listening, define what lucid dreaming is?
Yes. So lucid dreaming is basically where you are able to recognize while you're in the dream that you're dreaming. And when that happens, you all of a sudden realize you're not in the waking reality, that you're
Mhm.
inside the dreamscape, but you have a much more broad cognitive awareness of that space. Now, you can't control it completely. You can't necessarily control where you come in to the story,
Right.
but you possibly can with advanced technique. But normally you just are in a dream scenario and
Yeah.
then either spontaneously or with practice move into that state of lucidity where you realize that you're awake. Now, you talked about tools earlier, and this is one of the tools that um, allowed me to first attain that when I was probably still a teenager. I purchased the book Lucid Dreaming by Stephen LaBerge, and I was just so enamored with it. I was like, I'm gonna make this happen. And one of the ways that you do it is by looking at your hands continually throughout the day. And so just making a regular habit of looking at your hands and just observing what they look like. I didn't even really know what I was looking for. I was just, okay, I'm going to look at my hands again. And I did it enough that eventually in my dream, I looked at my hands and I realized I didn't have any rings on.
Wow. So you created a bridge between
And
worlds.
then, so then I knew and I
Oh
was so
my gosh.
excited. And then I woke up. So that's phase two, is that normally when you get excited about that, it can break it and you can wake up. So you have to then learn how to stabilize in that world, how to attain the state and then say, okay, where am I? What is this? Which I love going on those treasure hunts. I'm looking at everything on the walls. I'm looking for a newspaper. I want to find a clock. I'm trying to
Mhm.
figure out where I am and what time it is, where it is, all that kind of stuff. And then also you can say, okay, I want to do this now. And it's like you're your own movie producer all of a sudden.
Wow. That's so powerful. And how fun.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I think
Mm-hmm.
I know I had an aha moment, and I'm definitely going to try that out. But I'm sure everybody is now seeing the power in action of learning how to become more anchored in the dream reality. And so you
Mm.
said you have a 90-day program that allows individuals to learn more about this.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, and it's called the Dream Empowerment Program. And we basically work together for 90 days over a series of sessions, dream sessions, where you're recording your dreams, going right along. You're contacting me throughout the week about your experiences. And then we're meeting and going over dreams of your choice. And then I'm making the customized meditation, guided meditations for you with the frequencies that I curate based on what you're trying to achieve with that dream message, and then the alternative ending if you need one.
Right. Very powerful. Thank you for sharing that.
Hmm.
I can, I have daughters, and I can remember their growing up. I mean, they have me for a mom, so they're very intuitive and sensitive. But I can remember them growing up and looking for ways that they could overcome their nightmares and overcome their dreams and overcome whatever was coming in during that time. And gosh, I know we're learning this as adults, and I know we're bringing the information and we're starting to normalize spirituality, bring all this into the world. All of us are working very, very hard and with great passion to do so. And I have to say, I'm excited for when we bridge the gap and start giving kids this as a way of moving through their world and self-determining, right?
Yes, and I've had a number of people ask me about that in different talks that I've given and so on. And I think a lot of the applications can be applied to children. Certainly, if I had had those tools, my childhood might have been very different. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have suffered from those same recurring dreams for so many years. So,
Yeah. This has been absolutely brilliant, Megan. I'm so grateful for you.
hmm.
I I want we have to wrap up, and I want, what else do you want everybody to be aware of? What message do you want to leave with our audience? Hi, kitties.
Yes, that is Merlin, and he's actually in the book.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, all of my cats are in the book, including ones I may have had in another world.
Yes.
Yes. So what I want to just put out there is the different ways that I show up in the world and where you can find me and
Please.
what how you can connect with all of this wisdom. So I have the podcast, which you have been a guest on, Women's Dream Enlightenment. And on there you can hear me interpret other women's dreams live on the show, including nightmares. And I also have women like yourself come on and tell their story of spiritual awakening. And then I also have Inner Realms Publishing, through which I publish my books. And so The Dream Haunters is out now. The Dream Mirrors is on pre-order. You can pre-order it now. Don't forget that it's also on audiobook, which I love, with my favorite narrator, Pearl Hewitt. It just brings it to life. So I'm
Oh,
super
wow.
excited about that.
Yeah.
I'm writing book 3 right now. I just finished 10,000 words this morning, which I'm so excited about.
Congratulations.
Yes. So, and then of course I have online dream courses where they're self-paced and you can just take them and learn the method that I teach, get familiar with it, start your practice of recording your dreams. And then once you're ready to really dive deeper into that, book time with me in the one-to-one sessions. And then if you're really ready to do the work, the 90-day programs will really guarantee that transformation, because it's so much more of a dedicated practice and so much more closer support in that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And for everybody who's watching, all the information will be in the show notes, so you'll be able to know exactly where to find Megan. Number one. Number two, everything that occurred in our conversation today was energetically coded, and you've received everything you need. Now it's your turn take a step in the direction that is optimal for you. Megan, thank you so much.
Thank
I
you,
appreciate
Teresa.
you.
I really appreciate you letting me speak with your audience and having me share my message.
I'm glad you were here to do so. All right, everyone. Love you.